What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things,
With Shawn and Andrew.
a podcast that we talk about a couple of random things.
I am enjoying the show more and more, actually.
Me too.
Here 5.5, 6 years in, I'm enjoying it more and more.
You're getting less couple things about couples and more random couple things.
All right, if
Get
this
it?
is your first time here, let me tell you what we talk about. Let's tell them the 3 or 4 things that we talk about really passionately. One is we kind of talk about the joy and discipline and commitment, you know? I think we talk about how rigid and routine our marriage structure is, how rigid and routine our parenting structure
You're
is.
saying this is an underlying common
I
topic
think it
we
is.
talk about?
I think everything we do is based in our athletic upbringing, which was
Wow.
very rigid.
Way to keep the audience around, guys.
I'm telling them that's one thing. Another thing that you can expect from us is playfulness.
Yeah,
okay?
we're going to argue and bicker about each other a lot.
But it's playful,
Mm-hmm.
right? We also...
This is like our therapy. It's like marriage therapy that you get to just listen to.
But the feedback we get, which we'll read some comments here
Stop looking
shortly.
at my teeth, okay? It's
They're
a
purple.
blueberry smoothie.
They're purple. Sean's been making this amazing smoothie,
It's
but
so
it makes your
good.
mouth... It makes your mouth purple. The third thing you can expect from us is this curiosity, this unending curiosity. I've been thinking about this opening spiel here for a while.
I can tell.
Like 3 nights ago, I was thinking, why do people listen to us? Or if the people who come for the first time want to know what we're about, what can they expect? And I think it is like the joyful discipline. I think it's the playfulness, and I think it's this unending curiosity. So
that's what you think.
that's what we're gonna double down on, just so you know. So it's not gonna be like a...
You're gonna double down on.
That's what... You're
had
doubling
no
down,
part-
dude. Let's double down.
I had no part in this.
No, you've been a part of the whole thing. I'm just
I like to
bringing to the
philosophically
surface.
debate things that have to do with relationships. That's it.
And that's based out of...
That's it.
Okay.
Period.
All right. I'm just
Don't put
saying...
freaking
I'm just
words in
saying
my
those
mouth.
that's kind of what we're about. Also, 2 of those are our family values.
They were derivatives.
I just think it's important. We have a style. And it is for some people, but it's not for other people. So,
You know what Andrew and I really like to do? We like to argue semantics.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
we like to be precise in how we speak. I think that's
And
important.
I like you to agree with mine, and you like me to agree with yours.
That's good. That's a good way to put it. All right, today's episode is Common Courtesies in Marriage.
I don't even know what that means.
We have a wonderful episode here, scripted out. We got 6 pages of content to get through, but
Nobody needs to know how many pages we've written, Andrew.
we have a couple things to do before we roll into this
I have
episode.
blueberry seeds in my mouth.
First and foremost, we did an episode on our biggest frustrations. People loved it. You loved it. And I would like to add a couple more frustrations to that, okay? Here's one of them.
About me?
No. About parenting and marriage. Here's one of my frustrations is how easy it is and how naturally inclined I am to reprimand or to be personally offended rather than I am to praise. With our kids specifically, why is it so much easier to say no to them than it is to say great job, you know? And I was thinking about that the other day of how I could tell Bear 1,000 times, stop climbing on the thing, stop climbing on the bar stool, stop climbing on this. And I'll say, no. But then when he actually does what I am asking him to, it just doesn't come as easy to say, hey, great job, Bear, or good job. And that's a frustration of mine that I'm like, I'm actually trying to flip the script on that and be more naturally inclined to give encouragement and praise.
We actually did an interview with Dr. Mona this morning, and who's a pediatrician, who studied psychology as well. And she was talking about this. She was talking about, like, not in a manipulative way, but like in a strategic way. Teach your kids almost through praise rather than just an upbringing of criticism.
Yeah. We
were specifically talking about like food, but
picky eaters. What an interesting experience that would be. I think it's a more effective tool.
I think it is too. We should try it.
Positively reinforced rather than just trying to undercut the no's. A second frustration I have.
Now to the marriage part.
No. Is the fact that growing up feels like goodbyes. I heard this in a song the other day. I think it was by Adam
That's your
Doliak.
perspective. That's not your. That doesn't have to be accurate.
It really does feel like this constant grieving process.
I know, and I can't think about it.
I know.
Because
with your kids.
it's a choice of perspective. You can either every single day grieve this idea that you're never going to have a baby again, and you're never going to have like the infant year again, or you're never going to have like, that's why when you see all these like videos of moms grieving the last time they nursed their child, that is a choice. You get to choose to either sit there and grieve it, or you can choose to sit there and celebrate the fact that you got to experience it and that now you're in just as great of a life phase. But if you sit there and grieve it, that's not fair to your kid, because you're saying, I'm so sad that I don't have that part of you anymore. But you do. You experience it. It's in you.
Okay,
I
is that
hate
you?
this perspective
Boy, I am
so much.
I am so prone to this perspective.
I know, and I hate it. That's a very strong
This comes
tone.
easy to you, is just to like celebrate where you're at. And
No,
not
it's
think
not.
about
But
the
you
past.
can actively not let yourself sit there and be like, oh, Drew, I'm so sad you're not a baby anymore. Or like, you can't ever grow up.
And you're saying in that process.
I don't think that's fair, because instead of celebrating who they're becoming every single day, you're almost making them feel guilty for doing something that they are so excited
Hold on.
for.
No, I'm not saying I'm doing this in front of the kids, but when
You do it in front of Drew every day. You're like, don't grow up on
okay,
me.
that's a joke. That's playful. But
You should rethink it.
okay, I will. Thank you. Challenge accepted. When you have a 3-year-old who, whatever, says aminals instead of animals,
I know, it's the
and
best.
then they figure it out, like it really is. You're like, oh, that was so precious. Here's what I'm trying to say. I agree. These are the best days of our life, and
For sure.
I love these days so much, and I'm thankful for them. And then like the days go by, and then you look back on pictures when Drew's a kid, and now when she was a baby, and now she's 5 years old. And you're like, holy, it really does go by fast.
It does.
You know.
I'm just saying, and I agree with you. And I think there's so much of me that could sit here and bawl my eyes out at the idea that we're done having babies and we're not going to hold one of our own infants again. That's definitely sad. But Jet's about to do his first T-ball practice.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, when we were holding him as an infant, that wasn't even a thought of ours. Like, we're unlocking new experiences that we'll never get to have again. And you can grieve that, but you also should try to live in the moment of celebration.
I agree. I think you cross the line when you allow that quote unquote grief to pull you out of the present moment, and like you're just living in the good old days. Reflectively, you know. My last frustration is this,
Oh my
and then we can
gosh.
carry on. I'm in this group with older men, about 20, 25 years older.
Yeah.
And there's like 40 of us.
Yeah.
And we're telling stories about parenting and marriage, and kind of really in a pretty vulnerable way that I've not been a part of with like the older group like that. Is I'm hearing these stories, and I realize like you can harm your kids if you give them too much or you give them too little. You can harm your kids if you spend too much time with them or too little time, right? Like maybe you never take, or you can harm your marriage if you spend too much time with your kids or too little time with them. You know what I'm saying? Finding the balance is super hard. And it's what I'm realizing is it's not a, hey, we figured it out.
No.
We're good. And then you can just coast the rest of life. It is no, we have a balance currently today in this exact moment and exact phase. And tomorrow we will need to, in a lot of ways, figure it out again or make constant adjustments.
I agree.
That's not so much a frustration. It is like humbling, like, wow, okay, we're always going to be figuring it out, you know,
for the rest of our life, because every single day they grow up a little bit more and things change. They need different things. We change and the scales get reset every single freaking day.
Yeah. I guess I figured at some point you get old and you're like, you're good, but that's not what the experience has been. All right. Here's a featured comment of today's episode. This is from A. Heimer. A couple weeks ago, she said, "You two have motivated me and my husband to create a mission and vision for our family and be more intentional in meeting our goals and giving our purpose in life a more concrete direction.
Love it.
I am so grateful to have found your podcast. I've taken all your book recommendations, many podcast recommendations, and nearly all your goal and life setting objectives. We have a nearly 2 and 4-year-old and have felt quickness of time nowadays. Your content has motivated us to focus on what's important most, being God, marriage, and family. And bless you. And I hope you continue to do this type of work for a long time. You're changing one family at a time. That'll freaking make you feel decent about this show, huh?
It will.
Honestly, it might be hard to understand this. Shawn and I have gotten way better at this over the years. This is our 6th year of the podcast. It used to be, hey, let's do a show. And then we talk about whatever happened in our week. And now we've realized that it's a responsibility to prepare episodes in a way that is pleasant to listen to, that is meaningful, that's entertaining and educational, and for us to be personally challenged and aligned with, I don't know, it's like, it's a responsibility. Freaking is.
We actively are trying to make our marriage better every single day. Not because it's bad, but because we think we have a duty to one another to constantly work on this and make sure it's A++ for the rest of our life.
A+, that's John's. A+.
And we like to share what we learn and how we're actively navigating that. So to see someone be able to take that away and do the same for theirs, it's really cool.
This has motivated us to go to school or go back to school. I mean, really our job is in some ways to curate ideas and lessons, takeaways and products that fit our style that other people may share. This goes back to the beginning of what our style is, and then share them in like a clear way. So thank you for being a part of the journey. And it is fun because the style thing, like we did the podcast tour and the people we meet, it's not like we're meeting strangers. Just like, no, I know what you're about. Like if you listen to the show for hours, you got a similar style as we do probably.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're meeting someone that we've never met.
Actually, we just met for, I think, the 3rd time. A couple who came to one of our live podcast shows who we got to meet in person. And at the live podcast show, they were talking about how they had just gotten married and they were like taking our advice and they had been listening and following for so long. And we just ran into them again. They came to the pro volleyball game because they knew we were going to be there.
Gosh.
Because they wanted to share that they just found out they're
I'm about
pregnant.
to cry, dude. I'm still hyped about that.
They were so excited, and we are so excited for them.
Gosh.
But it truly felt like family. It was really, really cool.
Congratulations.
And to see them working on their marriage and like furthering their family was so special.
Yeah. It's really special.
Let's dive into common courteesies of marriage.
Okay.
So
one common courtesy: don't interrupt.
Don't talk over each other.
Oh, I think I might learn something in this episode.
Yeah. We've been thinking about common courtesies in marriage a lot and why they're important.
Here's why.
Okay.
One, because it's so easy to get out of the habit of doing common courtesies when you're 9 years into marriage like we are. But I think they become more important the longer into marriage you get, right?
They also help set the tone for the day or the week or the month.
100%. Shawn and I have one common courtesy. Maybe this is unique to us and not common, but like gentle wake ups with a peace offering in the form of a coffee is like that has become a
peace offering. Here.
That's become the it is just to know I love you, and it's like because I'll have been up for an hour and a half and I'll have cranked AC/DC or whatever I'm listening to during my morning workout.
And that is not my vibe.
And
when
Shawn
I wake
is
up.
just breaching the morning light, and that's our peace offering. So anyway,
some other reasons to do common courtesies, which we'll talk about, but sets a great example for your kids to be seeing you do these active things for each other, whether you're newly married or 30 years into marriage.
It also is a great way to show the other person that you care about them and can make them feel seen, especially in this chaotic phase of life that we're in with 3 kids. I'm realizing more and more how much of a choice love is, and like We're
That sounds romantic.
what? Yeah. Like we don't do a podcast about how it ain't the feeling, it's the choice and the decisions you make.
You're realizing more and more how you have to wake up and just choose to love
No,
me.
it's really special. It actually makes it more special.
I'm kidding.
In my mind, like I am more of a recluse, and I could like go out in the woods. I could go out in the woods for like 3 months. And
no,
not talk
you
to
couldn't.
anybody.
You think you're some.
This is what we talked about the other day. Is I don't really like technology. I didn't have any social media before Shawn.
You are the tech guy.
I am now. Okay, but when
Andrew thinks if it weren't for me, he would get dreads and go live on some.
I had dreads.
Oh, you went to Vanderbilt.
Okay, Shawn, I played football at Vanderbilt.
You got an MBA.
This is not what we're talking about. My point is, I have made a commitment that even though I don't really like texting or being on the phone, even if it's for a phone call,
you own more tech devices than anybody I know.
If my wife calls me, I will pick up the phone. Why? Not out of obligation, but because like that's my freaking wife. You know? So yeah, if there's gonna be anybody I pick up the phone for, it should be my wife. And that's like a choice. So
I
it's
love that you're just learning this.
It seems obvious, but I'm just telling you, I'm freaking telling you what I've been through.
Other reasons.
Roast me for it. Dang.
Common courtesies are good. Small gestures add up and making, like after time, it can make you guys feel closer to one another. It also reminds you that the marriage is a priority and worth fighting for.
Thank you.
And actions speak louder than words.
Dare I say, louder the deeper into it you get. Anyway, also this episode is not to make anyone feel bad if there's a lack of common courtesy and a lack of upkeep with the little things. View this more as an encouragement for you to be the one to start them up again, and then, you know, be an experiment to see the impact that they can have on your relationship.
It can also be dangerous to lose sight of the small things that you used to do when you were dating, but it doesn't mean it's ever too late to start them back up.
That's right. So try out some of these that we're about to go through and then let us know how it goes. We're also, obviously, as you could see with our pregame banter here, we're not perfect ourselves. So this is a reminder for us to do these. For Shawn specifically.
For Andrew.
But, well, one thing we do know that I can personally attest to is that it is worth the effort to prioritize each other. Like I've noticed the times when we've fought for each other.
Yeah.
That's what that means, I think. Prioritizing, fighting for each other. And we've noticed the times that we haven't.
Yeah.
And so let's just like freaking make the daily choice to pick up the phone. Anyway, let's get into it. All right.
What's the definition of common courtesy?
Common courtesy is a level of politeness that people can generally be expected to show. It can also be defined as the basic level of politeness that is expected from someone. That's from the old Merriam-Webster.
Merriam-Webster.
That's right. Back when there used to be one finite source for definitions.
Yeah.
Now you got Urban Dictionary.
ChatGPT.
All that stuff. Yeah. All that stuff.
You guys are probably wondering, what are some common courtesies that we can start implementing within our relationship if you aren't implementing them already?
Number one. Also, these are going to be obvious. These are going to sound obvious. But if you know how it gets in marriage, when it starts feeling like a roommate, we did a whole episode on the roommate phase, you start losing these things. And it's like, it does become more of a task and a little more laborious than it is natural, like it might be with strangers. That's been beef with Shawn towards me, is like sometimes I'll be more charismatic with strangers than I am with her.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, it's easier because they're not coming in with all of that sauce that you got. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. Okay, number one. First common courtesy is greeting each other. So when your spouse walks in the door,
stop what you're doing. Put your phone away.
That's right.
Make eye contact with your spouse. Say hello.
Hi, it's good to see you. We talked with the Marshes about this idea of hospitality that hit me so hard when she said, thinking of someone before they've arrived. What does it mean when someone's hospitable? It's like you feel warm and welcome there. What if you had that in your home?
But
greeting each other is the most basic.
Greeting each other is hard sometimes, especially if you guys are married and living together. Because, like, at the end of the night, when we put the kids down, we've gone back and forth on this before, where it's like, when we both come down the stairs, different places, different times, done putting the kids to sleep, we have missed the opportunity to greet each other both times.
Because it's finally, oh my gosh, the kids are finally down. I can be on my phone undistracted. So you sit down, you're on your phone. Next thing you know, Shawn comes down the stairs, and then
you've missed a window.
Yeah, you missed the bid, as they say.
Yeah.
So that's honestly become a rule in our house. Is I'll sometimes put the kids down faster. I'll have my phone out, but as soon as I hear Shawn coming down the stairs, phone's down.
Yeah.
And I'm making eye contact with her as she's coming down the stairs. And honestly, it has allowed for such a better connection. Mm-hmm. And like, then we'll do our debrief. It's great. As opposed to spending an hour in conflict about like, oh, I don't feel loved and this and that. And like, there's all these negative emotions that can kind of be highlighted with a negative interaction. We spend 5 minutes with a pleasant debrief. And so I think it's a win-win-win-win-win, you know? Anyway, give them a little hug and a kiss.
Whatever is needed.
That's right. Number 2, listen. Don't just hear. Give your full attention to your spouse when she's speaking. Just like we said, put your phone down or stop whatever you're doing. Obviously, there will be situations like in the morning, Shawn and I will be making breakfast and making lunch at the same time. We'll have some light conversation. But if it's something that merits a full discussion, one, don't bring it up in a bad context. So there's like a certain amount of patience and discipline in that.
If it becomes not a good time, kindly express that. It's better to hear what they're saying at a later time than disregard what they're saying in the moment.
And I've tried something like, hey, I would love to give you my full attention. I just feel like I need to focus on the lunch thing right now because the kids are leaving for school in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying not right now.
Yeah.
So there's that. Number 3, show a genuine interest in their day.
Genuine?
Yeah. What are you, the grammar police today? That's like the third word. Yeah, I said that intentionally like that. Genuine. If you spent the day apart, ask how the day went for the other. Don't wait for the other person to check in with you. Ask how their day was and see how they're feeling.
It's good to know how their day went so you can know what to expect from them when you're together. Example, if they're exhausted, energized, so you can meet them where they are.
That's right. That's good.
I want to add something to that. Not just show a genuine interest in their day, but show a genuine interest in their hobbies. This is something Andrew and I talked about a few years ago. That it can be very easy as you get into your relationship to like develop hobbies that are like of interest to you individually. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're dating, Andrew's really into watching football with the guys. And when we're dating, I kind of act like I'm interested. But as you get married, you're like, oh, I don't really care. No, make an active time, an active effort to show interest in what your spouse is excited about. Whether you care or not, you should care about their excitement.
And I love the phrase, to know is to love. So if you don't love it, i.e. you don't care, maybe get to know it a little better. And then maybe you could say, oh, I know it. And now my care for it is growing. What?
Nothing. What's the next one?
Use kind words. Just like you teach kids to say, please, thank you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Give affirmations regularly. They can be simple, such as, you look great. Which one are you giggling at, Shawn? Because how many times? No. And this go back.
No, read the last one.
Kind words also mean a kind also means a kind tone. Avoid a harsh or sarcastic tone. No. Shawn.
Andrew.
I'm sorry. How about that?
Sorry.
This is one thing I've learned with the words and tone thing. Is I can if I like touch you, the physical touch like this, me. What, is that uncomfortable to you?
No.
What? It changes the tone and how it's received. Because I think you naturally assume that I'm like aggressive.
No.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
No, you do. You do. You do. You do.
Jeez.
No, yeah.
So this is one thing I'm trying to work on. Is like, hey, I love you, and I'm not. What?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know the reference?
No. What is that? Why are you pinching my finger like that?
This is Ariana Grande.
I don't get it. Is it from Wicked?
Yeah. Okay.
Next, you got it.
Good to move on. Show appreciation. Thank your spouse for both big and small acts, such as running errands, cooking dinner, or just for being them.
That's hilarious. No, that's freaking funny.
This is a great way
so great.
to make sure the other person knows their efforts are appreciated instead of feeling taken for granted or like their efforts are expected.
What a hilarious thought that Andrew would be appreciated for just being him. Hilarious thought.
Okay. Your sarcasm is palpable.
What's funny to you about that?
You were making a face, so I was laughing at you.
I was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're getting a little saucy.
All right.
We should both.
Rein it back.
Yeah.
Okay. 6, share responsibilities. This looks different for every family and can be influenced by schedules, work, number of kids, etc. But do what you can to both contribute to the load of running a home and raising kids, and thank each other for doing their share.
Most importantly, pick up after yourself. This goes a long way. This is a common courtesy that is most definitely forgotten within your household, within your family, because you get tired and you get exhausted. But if you were in a guest house, you would pick up after yourself.
What's interesting is you're highlighting that, which makes me think that it's super important to you, which now I'm learning about.
It is so very important to me. You're just learning this?
I just can't believe that you're like doubling down on that one, I'm serious.
Really? That's a shock to you.
I can't believe that's
Andrew,
the one.
We've been together for 13
Not the show
years.
appreciation ones. You didn't do a sidebar conversation for that.
I love nothing more than a clean house. You know this.
Oh, I knew you kind of liked it. I didn't know that was like, you've never explained it like the whole.
Wow.
Okay.
If you ask me for my favorite bra and underwear brand, without hesitation, I will always say Skims.
What's your favorite bra and underwear brand?
Skims. I literally threw out every single pair I owned to replace it with Skims. I live in their stuff, you guys. It is worth every ounce of hype you have ever heard. And if you've heard our Skims ad before and you've been on the fence, just try it. It's seriously that good. Finding a great postpartum bra felt nearly impossible. Seriously, it took me years. It took me 3 kids. But then I tried the Fits Everybody Online Demi Bra, and I am genuinely so glad I gave it a shot, and I gave another underwire bra a shot because it is incredible. I know you're really in on this, babe.
I am.
I honestly thought I was done with all the underwire bras after having kids, and I was totally fine with that. But then this bra totally changed the game. It is unbelievably comfortable, super supportive, and fits like it was actually made for me. Whether I'm chasing my kids around or heading to an event, it's my go-to bra every single day. I've had to buy multiple so I can always guarantee I have one clean to wear and that my drawer is now stocked with them. But that's also a personal problem. I probably have too many now. Shop Skims, best intimates, including the Fits Everybody collection and more at skims.com and Skims stores. After you place your order, be sure to let them know I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows.
7, chivalry.
Andrew.
If you're a man, maybe I should do a whole solo podcast.
You should.
On my thoughts on this. But
Chivalry's not dead, nor should it ever be.
I think it's still cool to do things like open the car door and hold the door open for your spouse. I think it's a little way to show that you want to protect them and that you mean enough for me to think about holding the door open for you. But it's almost like a two-way street in some ways. It's like, that's my form of showing you my consideration. I think you have your certain forms of showing me your consideration. So
it means a lot. I think it's a level of respect and manners that are, maybe old school, but I think they're very touching.
At the very least, it is a layer of thoughtfulness.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with
Definitely.
the whole, like, the man should pay or the man should hold, it's like, well, at the very least, they're at least thinking about
Mm-hmm.
how might I take care of this person
Mm-hmm.
or show them that I want to protect them, you know? So like whatever style that looks like, I think plays. Number 8.
Communicate directly. Share openly how you're feeling instead of leaving it up for interpretation. Consult each other about plans that will affect both of you before agreeing.
Okay, no. I'll own the second one. You own the first one.
Fine. I'll own the first one. You better own the second
I'll
one.
own the second one.
Consult each other about plans that will affect both of you before agreeing.
You don't need
This
to reread
shows-
that one. You already read that one. Let me
This
read the first
shows
one.
you're on
Share
the same
openly. Share
page.
openly how you're feeling instead of leaving it up for interpretation. Oh my gosh. Shawn will be like upset about something. I'm assuming it's me for the whole day. And then she'll be like, I've had a stomachache and a headache the whole day. And I'm like, I wish you.
I don't want to be a pansy.
Oh my gosh. Stop.
Communicate in a timely manner if your spouse checks in with you. And avoid passive aggressive behavior or the silent treatment.
We don't do the silent treatment as much as we do sarcasm.
I think you and I would both like the silent treatment, but we're the opposite.
I think we take it too far.
We hammer it out.
If we did the silent treatment, we would both take it too far out of stubbornness.
We'd be
9, be considerate in a social setting. Speak kindly of your spouse in front of others.
always.
We learned this in premarital counseling. The guy said this, that when you're speaking with your friends or family, never speak poorly about your spouse. I think that's so important because I have 4 siblings. I'm very close with them all. Obviously, we grew up together. So they're going to more naturally take my side, as are my friends probably. So if I say, you wouldn't believe what Shawn did, she disrespected me, and they're just going to be like, I can't believe she would disrespect you. And then next thing you know, it's like there's this rift that doesn't need to be there just because.
Or you've pushed your spouse out of your family in like a unifying sense, which is not okay.
So I don't know what the balance is because it's not like keeping it all in, but it's more of it's a disciplined filter of like, hey.
If you ever want to speak for advice about your spouse to a friend or a family member, you need to do so in a way where you're actively seeking to fix it and not vent.
And having an awareness of who's a yes man in your life
Yeah.
and who's not. Because like if I complain to my mom about you, she's going to take my side 100 times out of 100 probably.
You think?
She's my mom.
You think?
You know what I'm saying? I'll at least.
I think she might take my side. Like
Okay.
20%
She
of
loves
the
you.
time.
Thank goodness. Anyway, but yeah. Yeah, you should have a core group of friends that you can go to if you need advice, but that would be willing to give you a little pushback and feedback.
And don't ever make your spouse feel belittled or embarrassed in a group setting. That's your ride or die.
I think I've gotten better at that. I think I used to make like snide jokes here and there. Nothing too crazy unless there's something that comes to mind. But I think I've more actively preserved that. I hope you felt that. Number 10.
Be patient with each other. Offer each other grace, especially during stressful seasons or when they're going through something, such as pregnancy, postpartum, new job, a move, etc. And see the best in your spouse and know they're trying their best.
In our interview with Dr. Mona and her advice on how to like deal with the kids, this idea of being very slow to react, slow reaction came to mind, where it's like, the Bible talks about be slow to speak and slow to anger. And I was just thinking like, yeah, that's definitely a safer bet with these people that you're trying to preserve love with. You know, it's not a business context where you need to react with your strategy, impulse or whatever. It's like hey, I can say some really hurtful things here, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also let my emotions get the better of me in certain situations, like in the home context when it's so like constant and can feel overwhelming at times. There's not like a lot of places to escape. You're not going to the office or whatever. So it's like, just be slow to react. Keep your wits about you, as they say. Anyway.
Couple of other courtesies that are included here. I think it just goes to show like making active efforts always are important are things like personal hygiene, respecting privacy, respecting boundaries, help without being asked, talk about intimacy, don't set unrealistic expectations, and something as simple as family meals together.
Some of those seem conflicting to me, like help without being asked, but also respecting boundaries. I could see how that'd be like really tough to balance sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think helping without being asked would be crossing a boundary.
But what one person might perceive as help, the other person might be like, yo, just give me my privacy. You know what I'm saying?
I think
What?
it's referencing like dishes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that's true. It makes me think of our interview with Carl Pillimer, who wrote a book called 30 Lessons on Loving. Talks to these old couples, like 80, 90-year-old couples. And one of the guys he interviewed said that he never flatulated in front of his wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a bum, what an old school idea to not fart in front of your wife, you know? What a bummer that they're missing out on that.
That
Close
they're
friendship
missing
bond.
out on it.
Honestly, in some ways, I would say that's a trope in society where it's like, I'm comfortable enough to fart in front of you, you know? But then as you unpack that and you hear why, it's like, this guy always wanted his wife to have a good image of him,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not be this stinky, smelly, loud, noisy guy, which is interesting. So I have actually increased my personal hygiene game in light of that concept.
I've appreciated it.
Have you noticed?
Yes.
Good. I got a long way to go. I mean,
Yeah. But you're doing a great job.
It's just kind of interesting to think, you know.
And I've tried to up my fashion game for you as I sit here post-workout sweaty. But
You have, and I've noticed. Here's a challenge for you. Listening. Implement as many of these or other ones that come to mind as we're talking about this as you can in this upcoming week before the next episode comes out. And let us know how it affects your relationship. You can either comment on this video or the next one. Challenge accepted. Maybe even post on Instagram about it. Tag us in stories or whatever. Just say challenge accepted. And let us know. But I think it'll be fun. Common courtesy. Why not?
I want
It's
to
your
test it out. I want to take it all up to the next level.
People say work on your marriage. I think this is partially what they mean. It's like
I agree.
you work to do the common courtesies with people that you really don't need to do common courtesies with because they're your wife.
But it's also the person you should most do it for.
What an interesting balance.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the episode more than I thought I
too.
would.
I love you.
I love you.
I love your sarcastic little sass.
And we're so grateful for all of you listening. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. There's something like 70% of the people that listen to the show that aren't subscribed to it. So
What?
don't
What
be
are
that
you
guy.
doing?
Don't be that guy. Subscribe to the show. Give it a rating. And let us know if you want us to talk about any other topics. Y'all are very forthcoming and fun in the comments. So keep those coming. And we'll see you next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Shawn.